so I'm gonna slow this down for us to see. I'm gonna zoom up.
I want to see the glitch.
Do you see this right here?
Yes.
Right here, look at that.
Yes.
It's flapping its wings, bro.
Look, glitch.
It's flapping its wings. Like, what do you guys think that is?
The backrooms don't go on forever.
Wait, what do you mean?
So, a wanderer found himself trying to escape the level called The End. But it's a trick. It's actually an endless loop.
So then how do you escape?
There could be a time where the magnetic poles actually shift.
This is science. They say that the last one was like 778,000 years ago, and we're like something like 200,000 years overdue. But the Adam and Eve.
I eat children.
What?
How old are you?
You what?
They joke about this.
Only to 10.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nurse Dre. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. If the universe has led you here in a crazy twist of fate, please do hit that subscribe button because you will not be disappointed, and neither will I. I welcome all my family here. I do. Thank you for coming and thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Today we're looking at some crazy TikToks that are going to blow your mind. So let's get right into them.
Jesus Christ, the Adam and Eve video. I watched a video on that this morning. There could be a time where the magnetic poles actually shift.
This is science. They say that the last one was like 778,000 years ago, and we're like something like 200,000 years overdue. But the Adam and Eve story, the theory of that is that it happens in cycles of 6,500 years, and that it's a 90-degree flip, but 6 days later, or on the 7th day, it corrects itself and planet flips. Correct. It's a planet flip 90-degree, and that because of it, the Earth essentially does a standstill. The sun will be basically stay in the same spot, causing heating like we've never experienced, and that the wind and the waters continue with their momentum, because essentially the wind travels at approximately 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So the theory is that when that event happens, it's going to be cataclysmic. And
If you have ever been to Jamaica, okay, Cancun, Mexico, South America, Florida, anywhere close to the equator, have you experienced 1,000-mile-per-hour winds? Even if it was a hurricane, was there 1,000-mile-per-hour winds? No. What the fuck? Where do they come up with these numbers? However, I do believe that this could happen, and we're several years past our time when it's supposed to happen, so we've done missed the mark. But scientists do say that the North Pole has shifted, and it's shifting as we speak, and is actively speeding up its shift as we speak. So there is some cause to be concerned there.
I eat children.
What?
How old are you?
You what?
They joke about this.
Only to 10.
They joke about this.
I eat children.
What?
How old are you?
They joking about this.
Only to 10.
They joke about this.
He said only to 10. Only to 10 years old. You know, I like my meat fresh. Are you fucking kidding me? What's wrong with these people?
Children and pineapple.
Children and pineapple. Yum. Ooh, what is these? Oh shit. Is that the rocket that SpaceX sent up and it went crazy? There's a rocket that went crazy. That's for sure. Don't put no humans in them big old penises you be shooting up at the sky, because look, they're gonna blow up. See? Is that real? I had to delete the music on this one because it was copyrighted, but that's looking a little fishy. Just a little bit. All of them are broken. Wow. Y'all, this flat earth evidence is getting stronger and stronger, man. They're getting me on the side. They're pulling me. They're pulling at my heartstrings. Can't take it anymore.
2 plus 2 equals 6. And let me tell you why it equals 6. Because look at this. There are 2 2's. So therefore, there is an additional 2 that no one talks about because the government.
What? What? Oh, yeah. We don't use two of the cameras on our
Here's two
phone.
instances of what looks to be super soldiers caught on camera. This first one is from 2014 from the Ferguson riots, where video was captured of what looks to be a soldier double the size of the other soldiers he's standing around. The other instance is from North Korea during a parade with their military equipment through the streets, and we see with the other soldiers, one standing who looks to be double the height of the other ones around. Since the very first time that two groups of people started warring against each other, armies were looking for ways to create super soldiers, from the giant Goliath of the Philistines through the Nazis' attempt to create super soldiers through the Vril Society. What's actually going on with cloning and genetic manipulation in facilities to create super soldiers is beyond what we even know.
That's crazy. Okay, this next video, I have to delete the music if I can catch it in editing. But yeah, here we go. Flat Earthers' favorite camera, the P900, proves them wrong in spectacular fashion. This ship can't be zoomed back in. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to see that. Oops, is that a ship at the horizon and another over the horizon at the same time? That's pretty compelling evidence. I don't know. Because there should be a curve. You shouldn't be able to see that boat in the background. Give it up, Flat Earthers. I wish I could hear the music. Man, that was funny.
If this turns out to be true, are you going to continue paying a fourth of your paycheck to the government?
No.
What do you think? Let me know below.
If Americans just learned that the IRS was actually knowingly deceiving them, that would be enough for them to rise up and put a stop to it.
There is no law, and to date, nobody has been able to show that there is a law for the average American citizen working day in and day out to pay an income tax.
But We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education put a full-page ad in the USA Today on July 7, 2000. And within the body of that ad was a $50,000 challenge for anyone that could show the law, based on the research that I did throughout the year 2000 and that I'm still doing. I have not found that law. I've asked Congress, we've asked a lot of people in the IRS commissioners, helpers. They can't answer, because if they answer, the American people are going to know that this whole thing is a fraud.
There is no law that requires the average American worker in the private sector to pay a direct, unapportioned tax on their labor and compensation for services. I had to leave the IRS because I presented evidence that I had accumulated indicating that the agency was violating the law and violating people's rights. And I asked the agency for a response to my sincere concerns. And the answer I got was that they would not respond to my concerns and that they would provide me with the paperwork necessary to tender my resignation.
You can look through the statute and look for the law that requires you to pay. And when you do that, you can't identify a law that requires the average person in America who earns a wage and works in private business to pay an income tax.
Agency which will unlawfully impose a tax that doesn't exist is not going to care. If we the people don't know what our rights are, they're not going to tell us.
100% of what is collected is absorbed solely by interest on the federal debt. All individual income tax revenues are gone before 1 nickel is spent on the services taxpayers expect from government.
The main purpose of the income tax is not to raise revenue, but to redistribute wealth and to control society.
Our tax system has come to be un-American. Death and taxes may be inevitable, but unjust taxes are not.
This small booklet includes the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. This is the Internal Revenue Code, and this document, and the unlawful application of this document by the Internal Revenue Service has enslaved the nation that this document attempted to free.
Wow. Shit. Yeah. So the IRS is not part of the government at all. It's not a government it's not a government institution. Yeah, you can look that up. And also look up at the same time the fact that there is no law making most American citizens to pay income tax. It was mostly meant for people who live in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, to pay income taxes. But before World War II, we didn't pay any income taxes. And best believe, none of your income taxes go to the schools, to the roads, to the government workers that we pay every single day. It doesn't go to any of that. Where does it go? Well, we don't know because, you know, Congress loses our money a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Charlie warned us all.
Oh, I don't know what that movie is, but I want to see it. It's creepy.
Get ready for wars in the name of the free, vaccinations for illness that will never be, the assault on your children's impressionable minds, and a microchipped world. You'll put up no fight. Information suppression will keep you in tone. Depopulation of peasants was always our goal. But eugenics was not what we hoped it would be. Oh yes, it was us that funded Nazis. But as long as we own all the media too, what's really happening does not concern you. So just go on watching your plasma TV, and the world will be run by the ones you can't see.
That is one creepy motherfucker right there. Y'all.
I'm blowing your mind again. Ready?
Yeah, let me hear.
Check this out. Disney. You know why Disney characters wear gloves?
No. Why?
Check this out. The glove.
How is this kid old enough to grow a beard and get tattoos on his arms? I'm just saying. How old is he? 10?
Gloves Disney characters wear.
Yeah.
It's resemblance to
Disney characters don't have gloves on, bro.
What are you talking about? Disney characters don't have gloves.
Like, what do you mean? Like the princesses?
No, look at Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Mickey, Goofy, whoever's in that crew.
Okay, so
they wear gloves. They wear gloves.
Okay.
Right? You know why?
Why?
Watch this.
Why? Why do they wear gloves? They're all murderers.
Check this shit out.
They're mass murderers.
Boom. Okay. So you're familiar with those gloves, right?
Yeah.
Mickey's wearing those gloves. It has like the 3 lines on it.
The infamous.
Yeah, the infamous gloves. Interesting. Why those gloves and why those 3 lines?
Okay.
Check this out. These gloves are the same gloves of the Freemasons.
No.
Of the Freemasons, bro.
No.
Crazy.
No
Crazy.
way.
That's why Mickey and all those random characters on Disney, fam, they all wear those gloves, bruh. Look at it. Those are the Freemason gloves. That's why they have the 3 lines on it. Specifically those 3 lines. Where have we ever...
Dude, he's right, though. There's no other reason for it.
Does anyone want to tell me how in 1927 Universal Studios came up with this picture of the world? When the first picture of the world wasn't available until the 1960s through NASA? Almost 40 years later?
Looks quite accurate,
How
too.
did Universal Studios know that this is what the world looked like? Especially from space, when we hadn't been to space yet. Does anyone know?
Maps?
Anyone want to guess?
Maybe maps.
Why is nobody talking about this end of the world Bible prophecy?
I
the
don't
Bible
know.
Says that during the apocalypse, before the world ends, that there is going to be a 200 million man army. Those soldiers will be marching across the Euphrates River once it dries up. Well, this is the current state of that river. But that's not even the crazy part. Never before in history has a 200 million man army even been possible. Until now. China and Russia just made an alliance. Are you paying attention yet? The apocalypse is coming soon, and if you're not ready, then follow or subscribe so that you can learn more.
Conspiracy theories that everyone knows is true, part 1. Everyone knows the story of the man that invented an engine that ran on nothing but water that supposedly was able to go 845 miles between Phillips. Somebody from the oil and gas industry got upset and got this guy whacked off basically in broad daylight. They poisoned him and found unalived.
True.
I'm going to take it a step further on this. Not only do I think oil and gas industries are doing everything they can to stop people from inventing things like this, I think they're also stopping the advancement of just regular combustion engines and their mileage. I find it very strange that outside of going to a hybrid or an electric vehicle, that the overall gas mileage of engines really has not changed in many, many decades. Considering how much things have gotten advanced in everything else in society, I don't think it's really that possible that there's no way big companies like Toyota or Honda or Ford can't find a way to have an engine that's not a hybrid or electric that can add more mileage to a vehicle. But everyone knows this is true, and this is another thing that nobody steps up and does anything about because they're scared they're also going to go get whacked off.
Because they literally, quite literally, are. Like, everybody who tries to stand up to the oil companies, tries to do anything about it, tries to break into the industry with some new technology, they all get whacked. It's the truth, because oil is big business. It's bigger than the train companies. It's bigger than anything. Oil is the one thing in the world that they know that they can literally take out of the ground, not have to pay for, take out the ground, and then sell to us the highest bidder, you know? And it props up the dollar. I mean, it does all these things that if it wasn't around because we had some other better way to transport each other, a bunch of shit would be like a catalyst effect, you know, a domino effect. All these things would crash. And so, yeah, they kill people over it. Moving on.
One of my favorite things to do as a dumb person is to argue conspiracy theories with people who care. If you have 37 minutes to waste in a day, do it. It's the best. My favorite conspiracy theory to argue is the moon landing, right? Whether we went or we didn't, it doesn't affect my life at all. If anything, that'd be the most American thing we've ever done, to fake one of our nation's greatest accomplishments. That's America written all over it. Like, if you saw that in the newspaper tomorrow, you'd be like, yeah, right, we did. We tricked you all for like 55 years, you bunch of bums. Like, see how far away the moon is?
One of the greatest proofs that the Earth is flat. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
I don't think it's
We're
that flat.
orbiting in the heliocentric model of the Earth, the Sun at 66,600 miles an hour. While doing that, we're chasing the Sun at almost 500,000 miles per hour. So we're corkscrewing and spinning through an infinite universe, never to return to where we were before. The Georgia Guidestones had a little hole drilled in the middle stone, and if you look through it, there is the star Polaris, our North Star. How can we be traveling in all these different directions, traveling infinite distances, and that star just always remains in that hole? There's no way it would be in that circle a day, let alone 40 years. But it was there.
Somebody blew it up.
Somebody blew it up.
That's interesting.
Whoa,
Okay, if an alien spaceship flew across in front of your windshield, would you be laughing about it? I wouldn't. And I'm used to seeing alien spaceships, you know, in the sky and stuff, because all you got to do is go outside in a field somewhere and look up, and you'll see plenty of them. But if that happened and the power went out after a big sonic boom, I think I would be screaming, not laughing. That's a little fishy.
They put the truth right in your
question
face.
about the gay agenda. You thanked it at the VMAs. What is it? How do you define the gay agenda?
The gay agenda. There's been this plan. Like, we usually go to meetings on Wednesday in black cloaks.
Okay.
Draw like a big star in the circle on the ground. We have like these cups of blood, drink it, pretty much, and we kind of like plan like world domination, like to make everyone gay, and then like decrease the world population. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Who thinks he's joking? That shit went sideways fast.
The backrooms don't go on forever. Wait, what do you mean? So, a wanderer found himself trying to escape the level called The End. But it's a trick. It's actually an endless loop. So then how do you escape? Well, there's a bookshelf that will no-clip you to a spiral staircase. But If you see a red, blue, but even green door, you better choose wisely.
Wait, what's behind the doors?
So each color represents a fear that you'll have to overcome to escape. Behind the red door, you'll have to swim across a sea of spiders. The blue door, you'll have to escape a maze with walls so tight they press against you, making it difficult to breathe. But also, the ceiling is so low, you have to army crawl your way out.
So, I'm guessing the green door is a massage then, right?
No, actually, it's the worst.
The people in Egypt, they believed in what's called Kemet, the people that existed before the Egyptians. When we hear these stories about the Great Pyramid being a tomb for the pharaoh, it's worth mentioning that even the locals didn't believe that. The saying that the pyramids were built to be tombs for the pharaohs wasn't even developed until 150 years ago. That's it. They were taught Kemet. And it's worth mentioning that when you go through inside these pyramids of Giza, there's not one single glyph in any of them whatsoever. There was never a mummy found in any Egyptian pyramid ever. Quite literally, the only reason why we are told this stuff is because that was the theory developed by these men that went in there and said, I believe these must have been for the pharaohs. That makes sense.
So it's all just one group of people had one theory, and that theory just stuck around.
100%.
Bro, what do you think this is? Elon Musk just posted this video. I don't know if he's trolling us, because you know Elon Musk like to troll a little bit. And I'm here for... Alright, check it out.
Oh, that's total animation. That's not real.
Starlink satellite reached orbit, right? Did you see that?
Look at that glitch.
Did you see that? Bro, okay, so I'm gonna slow this down for us to see. I'm gonna zoom up.
I want to see the glitch.
Do you see this right here?
Yes.
Right here, look at that.
Yes.
It's flapping its wings, bro.
Look, glitch. Glitch.
It's flapping its wings. Like, what do you guys think that is? Like, we're in outer space, right? We're in outer space. We're in outer space, right? So what is that?
That's
What
fake.
is that, Elon? Elon, ¿qué es eso? ¿Qué es lo que eso es? ¿Qué es eso?
No, man. It didn't look like it was flapping wings.
Green Boots Cave, it's a cave on Mount Everest. Green Boots Cave is named Green Boots Cave because there is a man that died and is frozen solid on top of Mount Everest.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people die on top of Mount Everest every year because of how dangerous of a hike it is, because it's so high. When people die up there, they're not able to go and recover those bodies. Those bodies stay up there. And because of the elevation and the temperature, they're frozen solid and these bodies don't decompose. So this guy was on top of Mount Everest from the moment he died. From then until 2014 when somebody finally decided to move his body to a more secluded location. But he is still on top of Mount Everest to this day. Really? Yes. There's also another lady that they named the Sleeping Beauty. She's also dead there, just in the middle of the open. They call her that because of how she looks. It looks as if she's sleeping. And she's been there for probably just as long. And so the scary thing about Green Boots is nobody knows who he is. He's been unidentified. So there's a couple of conspiracies about like who he is. Some people think that they figured it out, but nothing has been confirmed. With Sleeping Beauty, they narrowed it down to about 2 or 3 people.
How do they not know who it is? How do you just walk up a mountain and never come down and nobody knows who you are or what you're doing or where you're from or no, you didn't tell nobody you were going for a walk up Mount Everest?
Black sites are secret prisons which hold ghost detainees, which are prisoners that are not registered anywhere and not even officially charged with a crime. And as you can imagine, the CIA just hates these things and would never use them because they're clearly immoral, illegal, and against the Geneva Convention. I'm just kidding, they don't care about any of that shit. They f***ing love these things. The most famous of these black sites is Guantanamo Bay, a U.S. prison in Cuba where prisoners are held with no legal rights. But technically, it's not a secret location. It's a publicly known prison, so it's kind of in a gray area there. It's a gray site, if you will. Obviously, getting the numbers on these things is kind of hard since, they're secret prisons. But based on current information, the CIA is estimated to have more than 95 secret prisons in 28 different countries, as well as 17 ships that operate as floating prisons in international waters.
No way.
You do not want to find yourself in one of these black sites, okay? It is not a fun time. There are no pizza parties, and even if there were, you could bet your bottom dollar there would be anchovies involved. The main reason the CIA keeps these black sites is so they can perform enhanced interrogation on the people held there. You may have noticed at this point that the CIA basically has their own dialect of English with all these fancy terms that...
Okay, but you don't need to interrogate people for very long, right? Because if you're this kind of person that you're going to do this kind of thing, then you're doing torture in a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to do interrogations very long. Why do you have so many of them? How are there that many people that you need to interrogate? all of a sudden. God, that makes me rethink my life decisions quite quickly.
Inevitably translate to just awful, terrible things. The Patriot Act? What's that? I love America. Where do I sign? Oh no. Enhanced interrogation is CIA speak for straight-up torture, which they are not shy about inflicting on prisoners in these black sites in order to squeeze out information or force confessions. If you're wondering where they got that brilliant term, it was actually translated from the Nazis. The chief of the Gestapo coined the term enhanced interrogation in German in 1937, and the CIA decided that they liked that quite a bit. And it's definitely not the only thing that they've taken from the Nazi playbook. Some of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques include, but are not limited to, again, viewer discretion is advised, beating, waterboarding, binding prisoners in distressing positions, placing a hood over the head for days on end, exposure to noise at extremely damaging decibel levels, sleep disturbance, sleep deprivation to the point of hallucination, sensory deprivation, isolation, compression, being smeared in human excrement, deprivation of food, water, and medical treatment for wounds, the R word, subjugation to extreme heat and cold, confinement to small coffin-like boxes, anal feeding, and, worst of all, tickle torture.
What the
Seriously,
fuck is
that was on
anal
the list.
feeding?
It's basically exactly what it sounds like. You just tie somebody up and tickle them for so long that they rat out their entire family. Which, honestly, if you think about it, does sound pretty horrific. And that is seriously not even close to the exhaustive list of creative ways that they have found to exact human misery on these people. It's truly disgusting. It's not known exactly how many have died at the hands of the CIA as a result of these techniques, but the number is thought to be in the low hundreds. In 2005, the CIA intentionally destroyed 92 videotapes which depicted enhanced interrogation techniques being used against Abu Zubaydah, who, as you can see, only has one eye. I wonder how that might have happened. I bet that's totally unrelated. An internal memo from the CIA about the tapes justified their destruction by saying that their contents were so horrific that they would be, quote, devastating to the CIA, and the heat from destroying them is nothing compared to what it would be if the tapes ever made it into public domain.
Wow.
Which, wow. That is the most blatant obstruction of justice I have ever heard. Back to the black sites themselves, my favorite story... Well, it feels kind of weird to call it my favorite story because it's incredibly fucked up and tragic, but the most ridiculous story I came across was that of a man named Khalid El-Masri. El-Masri was a German citizen who was kidnapped by the CIA in 2004 while he was visiting Macedonia, hooded, stripped, shackled, had terrible things done to his butt, and was then drugged unconscious via suppository. And about the terrible things done to his butt that I can't say on YouTube, they did that a lot. They do that a lot. It's really weird. You know that scene in GTA where they're, like, about to do that to somebody? They do that. They do that a lot. Like a really unnecessary amount. El-Masri was then put in a diaper and a jumpsuit and flown to the Salt Pit, a notorious CIA black site in Afghanistan, where he was then starved and tortured for months. Wow, you say, what harsh treatment. This guy must have been a terrible criminal, an absolute abomination if the CIA was willing to do this kind of medieval bullshit to him. Well... You may be surprised. The reason Khalid El-Masri was abducted and tortured for months was because the Macedonian police officer who stopped him at the border, initially detained him and reported him to the CIA, made the tiny mistake of accidentally thinking that he was Khalid Al-Masri with an A instead of an E, who was a known terror suspect. After months of being falsely imprisoned and tortured, El-Masri was eventually hooded and released in a remote desert in the middle of Albania, more than 1,200 miles from his home country of Germany. Khalid has tried to take his case to the Supreme Court multiple times, but has been denied on the basis that the proceedings could not move forward without exposing state secrets. And yeah, it would probably expose the secret that the state falsely imprisons and tortures people because some Macedonian dude doesn't know his ABCs. Fun, happy time, iceberg lift, Watergate.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack, and we're just gonna keep moving, okay? All right. Or not, because that's the end of the video. What'd you think? Were you disappointed? Did you subscribe? If you didn't, and you were led here by a crazy twist of fate, hit that subscribe button, girl. You will not be disappointed, and neither will I. I'm so excited to have some new subscribers around. We are on our road to 1,000, to be monetized. Yeah. We're getting there. If you don't follow me on TikTok, do so as well, because that's where I'm most active, at Nurse Dre. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I do appreciate it. Bye!